Is Kim Kardashian a life ruiner? So, according to this guy, he made a website called Kim Kardashian Ruined My Life. Let's check out the video and react to it.
These signs have been seen all over LA lately at KimKardashianRuinedMyLife.com. I went on the website so you didn't have to. This is the man behind the sign, David Libenson, the original creator of Kimoji. David met Kim as he worked at a different software and app company called Sensogram. Kim and Chris had reached out to his company to set up a meeting with them. David said he met with Chris and Kim at Chris's house in Calabasas. This is like 2013, 2014. Once they finished meeting about Sensogram, David pitched the idea of Kimoji to Kim. Kim and Chris and David all had a verbal agreement that this was an amazing idea and that they were going to look into it with him. David said during this meeting he showed Kim some of the concept art. David said after this meeting, him and his family were on cloud 9. And then a few days later, he gets a call from Kim's team. Weirdly, Kim's team was like, have you sent in the trademark yet? And he's like, no, I literally just talked to Kim, but I'm about to do it. And they were like, no, we'll do it for you. Don't worry about it. This will help with the process because she's an A-list celebrity. We want to make sure it's done correctly. Kim's team went and trademarked Kimoji literally 5 minutes later without David on the trademark. They took his concept art and ran. David has text and paper trail proof that they stole from him. David was like, you're not taking all my hard work. He sued her for $100 million. She countersued him for over $300 million, knowing that he could not pay that. Once David got countersued, he basically backed down because he literally could not pay them back. So not only do Kim and Chris get to keep Kimoji as the business, the lawsuit is now thrown away, but they told David he still has to pay them $400,000 for lawyers, their time, and financial compensation, even though they're all allegedly billionaires. Do you want to know what happened to David? He lost his family, his wife got divorced from him, and he now lives in his car. He works 2 jobs just trying to pay back the $400,000 to Kim and Chris. And they now have his idea, and they made millions and millions of dollars off of it.
I'm a lawyer. This man says that his life was ruined because of Kim Kardashian and her lawyers. So let's talk about a few things that we can learn from him and what he says he's been through. Number 1, always confirm everything important in writing. This man claims that he had a meeting with Kim and her team. They made some pretty important representations. Those representations were all verbal. And then Kim and her team went ahead and did the complete opposite of what they said they would do. So what should have been done after that meeting is just sending a confirming email to everyone who attended saying, hey, so good seeing you all. This is my understanding of what's going to happen. If I'm misunderstanding anything, please let me know immediately. Without written confirmation, if there's a dispute down the line, it's just going to be a he said, she said. It's going to be so hard for a court to figure out what's right. Tip number 2, if the other side that you're dealing with has a lawyer, you should hire a great lawyer. Yes, it can be very expensive, but it's worth it because you won't get screwed.
I've been doing my research on the Kim Kardashian Ruined My Life guy, and I did some stuff that I put on the Patreon, but there is something that I found that I want to share, post to the group. Buckle up, because this one's intense. Now, at this point, maybe you've seen this guy, David Libenson, who claims that Kim Kardashian ruined his life by a business deal gone wrong. And you know what? I think that could totally be true, that they had a business deal that went wrong. I also want to say that I've been doing a little more research, and something I realized, it wasn't hard to figure this out, hold please. If you look around like 2019, there's a good amount of articles about David suing Kim Kardashian. And at the time, he lived in Oklahoma City. I don't know if he lives there anymore, but I decided to do a little double clicking, and I looked at the Oklahoma City court records. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of court cases against David, mostly related to failure to pay, some with businesses that he's had, some with just like houses, rent, etc. But the one I really want to talk about is this guy who sued David for around $70,000 at the end of the day. And it's Robert G. Spencer. And he was a friend of David's, hold please. In 2018, David asked Robert to help him fund his lawsuit against Kim Kardashian. Robert then proceeded to loan David money over a period of time, and for each time there is a promissory note. I'm blocking out the addresses here, but here's one of the promissory notes. David ends up paying back $5,000 of the $75,000 that he borrows. As a result, Robert sues David. He ends up winning by default because David just doesn't show up, and that's how he wins, and he's entitled to, I think it was $66,000. But I will say this. Do I think this guy David had a business deal gone bad with Kim Kardashian? Sure. But it appears to me that he also has borrowed money from people who considered him to be friends and not repaid it to fund said lawsuit. So I tend to feel like this is a situation where we're probably not getting the full story, because I don't think that David has mentioned in any of these interviews that he's been doing that he borrowed all this money from a friend, and I don't know if he's repaid it. This was all the court stuff was in 2021. I don't know if he's repaid it. Considering they couldn't even find him to give him the summons for a very long time, then he just defaulted on showing up in court. I don't know. So I think there's a little more than meets the eye here.
Everything she said was irrelevant, honestly. Him not paying his friend back has nothing to do with, him getting screwed by Kim Kardashian. And it's almost like she's positioning it as though she's like giving us a judge of his character. But I don't necessarily know that actually applies in a courtroom, his character, because it's really believable that Kim Kardashian ruined his life so much. He says he's homeless now. So he could have borrowed this money because he was broke to, obviously he saw a big amount of money opportunity screwing Kim over. And so he borrowed this money, which he should have just said, invest in this and, and you'll get X% of the settlement. So he borrows this money to sue Kim Kardashian, obviously with the intention of winning. He thought he was going to win. And unfortunately, he's now not able to pay back the money. And then he gets screwed over by Kim again, has to pay another $400,000. So, I mean, she's making it seem as though he's like disingenuous, but I don't think that's the case. I just think he's a bad businessman, and which is fine. Nobody's a perfect, you don't start out a perfect businessman. Business takes, what did they say? 99% of success is failure. So this guy, he messed up, right? He messed up big time, and he got bullied and he got scared and he ran. But what he should have done, maybe he didn't have the money to continue the lawsuit, but he should have, too bad there was no TikTok back then, or it wasn't as big as it is now, because he could have blown this up on TikTok back then and affected her image, which he has. But okay, so a few things. He's done bad business. That's my first breakdown. Really, really bad business, right? And the business is not in the suing of Kim Kardashian. It's in the going to Kim Kardashian in the first place when you don't have all your ducks in a row. I said this yesterday on my story on Instagram. You guys go follow me on Instagram at I am Kenim. But I said this on my Instagram yesterday. People think the money is in the light. Everybody wants to be in the limelight. They want to be famous. They want to do all that stuff. But the money is not in the light. The real money is in the darkness. So you go to Kim Kardashian, especially in 2019. I think that's just around 2014. That's before Skims. That's before, back then Kim was doing licensing deals. So she was looking for her opportunity to make big bank by full ownership, right? Because ownership is what actually makes you rich. Kim was trying to build that, and he went to her, trying to use her clout to build that, instead of like a proper business, building the business yourself, right? Building it yourself, and then attaching Kim on in a partnership agreement, either like saying, look, I give you, 50% on your, he could have created a whole Kimoji app, put other influencers on it, built out the infrastructure. But no, he went to Kim. He was looking for an opportunity, as most people do. They go to famous people thinking they can give them the opportunity, not knowing that those famous people are puppets in the system. So yeah, my saying is that people think the money is in the light. The money is not in the light. The money is in the darkness. Those in the darkness create the light. And Kim Kardashian happens to be one of the people that has gotten the opportunity to be in the darkness, create the light, and also control the light. Not a lot of people are sitting in that opportunity. A lot of people in the light are just puppets. Kim, she owns the back end and the front end, and she partners with people on both sides. Now with him, he's messed up because he thought Kim was going to do it for him, and that's you snooze, you lose. That's bad business. That's bad business. So it's not like I don't feel sorry for him. I do. Like, it's always sad to hear about people getting screwed in especially in the entertainment business, but it happens in all businesses. But it sucks to hear people getting screwed. But hey, you snooze, you lose. Literally like a lot of businesses in America are not like, people claim that, like, white people own stuff, but they don't, or invented stuff. They don't. They just had a patent before everyone else. They had a trademark before everyone else, right? And they took someone else's idea and trademarked it. And that's how so I think the West built the infrastructure for ownership in business. They didn't necessarily invent things. And so this is where, you snooze, you lose. These are the rules. Like, you guys have to understand trademark laws. You guys have to understand copyright laws. You have to understand all these things. Because if you don't do that, somebody can come and steal your business from right under you. It's so important. You got to do all of these things. So that's number one. He screwed up. Number two, the lawyer gave us her take. She's like, yo, don't make these mistakes. It's a bad decision. But when it comes down to it, is he lying? Right? As this woman is saying, I don't think he's lying. To me, it's pretty obvious that Kim screwed him. And I don't blame her. Like, I wouldn't do it, but he made it so easy for them. So I guess the moral of the story is, stop looking for celebrities to give you an opportunity. Stop looking for music industry executives to give you an opportunity. You need to come in, build out the infrastructure yourself, have full ownership, and then have partnerships with these people. And when you bulletproof yourself that way, you become harder to mess with. Don't get it twisted. People are still going to try and screw you. That's the name of the game. In fact, if they're not screwing you, you're doing something wrong. Because, like, when I think about Facebook has like 300 lawsuits ongoing at a time. Think about how many lawsuits Kim Kardashian has ongoing at a time. She's going to be a beast with counter-suing people and scaring people off just by that. And, I think he was not smart. Oh, that's the next thing, right? Get a good lawyer. I know good lawyers, he could have gotten someone that says, look, I'll take X% of this lawsuit. Right? Instead of doing this deal where I pay you up front, no, I'll give you 10%, and he should have gone all the way. Like Donald Trump said, you don't quit, never quit, keep going. Because he had this opportunity to win this $100 million. And he probably would have won this money, but he got scared off. Or he thought he ran out of money. So I think that's where he failed again, like doing bad business. But when it comes down to it, yeah, it's kind of slimy, it's kind of greasy that Kim did that, but that's really what it takes to be at the top. It's not that you have to be greasy, but you have to know how to protect yourself. It's a dog-eat-dog world. If you don't protect yourself, if you don't, people will screw you over. I don't think that she needed to do things like that, but I think at that time, the Kardashians were desperate for ownership at that time, and that was the first opportunity to own something. And technically, because there was no evidence, or lucrative evidence that he owned anything, it was easy for them to still do that. Screwy business, but even now today, him exposing them, it's not going to hurt their business. It's not going to hurt Kim Kardashian. She's too big for that. People already look at her that kind of way, like she would do something like that. So it's not even a big deal. It's not going to affect her, and she's gonna be all right. But let me know your thoughts anyway. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. You're watching Brand Video Pro, and I'm your host, Kenim O, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.